guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to be joined with Anis Taj, cruiserweight boxer, and he is 7 wins, 2 defeats, with 5 wins by knockout. So you don't mess around with him or he'll knock you out, just put it that way. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Good, very good.
Enjoying the Christmas break now?
Yes, mate. Good. Flooding it with interviews though, mate.
Wicked.
Yes. My first question for you is, how did you get into boxing?
Oh, wow. It's actually 10 years to this month, the 13th of December 2012, I had my first amateur fight. But I always loved boxing, but I got into a little fight at my uncle's wedding. And that made my dad say, look, you have to go to boxing just to know. On that time at my uncle's wedding, I come off better. So I didn't have myself handed to me. But my dad said, you never know. There might be people who know what they're doing, and there's an issue. So now to defend yourself. So I did that, but I never really was. I love boxing, but I had more love for football, which I played to a good level when I was younger. I played rugby to a good degree, and I started playing American football as well. But I got to about 15, 16 where team sports just done my head in. Because if you lose and you've had a great blinding game, then, everything you've done, you haven't been able to make a difference. Whereas boxing was one thing where if you lose, you can't blame anyone but yourself. And if you win, the whole team gets brought up, but it's all, at the end of the day, it's the boxer in there. There's no substitutes. There's no, I'm injured. Let's go. So that's why I started boxing originally, then moved away from it, and I went back into it because I thought, I want to do this now.
So did you win your first amateur fight, and do you still watch like American football, rugby and football?
Yeah. I won my first fight, amateur unanimous decision. It was at Finchley Boxing Club in the Boston Arms. The old boy had 4 fights. I think he was 1 win, 3 losses or something like that. But he was weighing in about 85. I'd weighed in about 80 kilos. So it was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And I won that fight on the jab alone. Didn't really throw anything else. But I do watch football. I do still watch rugby, not so much. I used to just enjoy playing it, not really watching it.
Yeah.
American football I love watching, and NBA.
Who do you support in American football?
The Raiders.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I support Green Bay Packers, mate. Not doing amazing.
Fair enough. I didn't know you watched old arse. So, do you watch basketball?
No.
Nah? Okay.
I watch football, American football, and boxing.
Boxing, fair play, fair enough. And we know who you support as a football team because you're wearing the T-shirt.
Yes, mate. They're doing all right at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, we're doing okay, but a few issues here and there. But I think we've got to just have some faith in Ten Hag. He's got a plan, and he seems to be sticking to it, and he's doing quite well with it. So,
yeah,
might not be challenging for a title this year, but maybe next year or two, we'll be there.
Yeah, of course we will, and I'm sure you'll be looking for a title next year as well.
Yeah, we'll aiming to seeing what's coming up. We've had a few for stuff in the last few months, but some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't make sense at all. So it's whatever makes sense to my manager and my team. I've now let my team take a bit more of a forward step rather than it being myself solely.
Josh Burnham, is it?
Yeah, Josh Burnham is my coach. My manager is Al Siesta. So now, but I'm leaving the fights and that sort of stuff with my family. So my dad, he's heading up. He's my voice now. So whatever goes on in the background, it will be my dad having his say and having his, and Josh having his.
Mm.
But that's how it's moving forward. Whereas before it was more, I was letting, I was whatever Josh and Al was saying. It was like, yeah, cool. I haven't got an issue, which I could see in sort of my first loss this year was something I shouldn't have really taken. But you
What
live
was
and
that
learn.
to Redmond? Was it?
No, I haven't boxed Redmond. No, that was to Adrian Valentine.
Oh yeah, sorry, mate. How
Yeah,
hard was it to take your first defeat?
it was very hard. Um, I'd lost in the amateurs to people of good degrees, so it was like I wasn't adverse to losing, but when you're being piped up, and the issue that I had was I was having a lot of smoke blown up me. That at the time I was 5 wins, 5-0, and 4 of those wins by knockout, 3 of them in the first round, and I was being hyped up a little bit as a knockout puncher and all this. Now, when I had my second fight, that's the only fight I didn't knock the guy out in, and I was under the tutelage of Sean Murphy and Gary Foley of Finchley, ABC. So when I had that fight, and before that, and the one fight after, I was always of the sense that I'm not going to try and knock the person out. If I catch him, perfect. I'm gonna go for hell and leather. But if I don't, I'm gonna outbox the guy. Because in the amateurs, I was more of a boxer. I wasn't a banger. So I could hit hard, but that wasn't what my style and my fighting, the way I fought.
So
Was based.
now, do you think you've got the power still, and you can box a little bit as well, which is good?
Yeah. So now after I boxed in the boxer series, there was a few issues that I had going on. Yeah, when I boxed Ricky, I had a few issues going on that we don't need to talk about. There is just stuff with health and just things in camp that didn't work out as to how I wanted them, and that sort of played a bit of part in how I came out in that first round. I came out just looking to try and knock Ricky out, which
But did you enjoy the experience?
I did indeed, yeah. I wouldn't have thought if it was a normal fight. I wouldn't have had it. I would have probably said, "Now you know what." But because of it being on Sky and the exposure that you can gain from it, and it's a big opportunity. So I wasn't thinking of it as, oh, if I lose. I was thinking, if I win, it's a great thing. If I don't, then it's a case where I've gotten some exposure on Sky, and it could propel me for something else down the line. So it worked out good. I had a good experience. It was the first time I boxed on a big sort of card. Sky Sports on TV, so you can't go wrong.
So when because he unfortunately he put you down in the first round.
First round, yeah.
Yeah, but you got back up, mate. So what was going through your head when you got back up?
To be honest, it was steady yourself, and then I come out in that. So I got down. I was like, "What the hell did I just do?" And then I'm sitting in the corner, and you might be able to see if you watch it, where Josh had slapped me around the head a little bit, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." And he's like, "No, Anis, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." Because what it was is in my head, I was sort of thinking to myself, "All right, you've gone hell and leather now, and it's not worked out." And then a few seconds later, as I'm sitting in the corner, I'm like, you know what? Let's go and just box. Let's show what I can do now. Let's stop trying to go crazy. Let's try and box.
And you took that second round, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the second round, the first sort of 10 seconds, I was still a little bit unsteady. And then after I sort of just said to myself, look, just set yourself. There you go. And then third round, I caught him as well with a left hook. And he even said it, and he grabbed on. And it was a bit like, because obviously getting put down and then coming back from that, I feel a little bit, not worse for wear, but you just feel a little bit fatigued. So it was like, I need to get him off me, but I was trying not to use so much energy because I was thinking to myself, if I do get through this, I've got another fight in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes that I've got to get through again. So I was trying to do everything without putting so much energy and wearing myself out. which it didn't work. It was a learning experience. I enjoyed it. But if I do box on Sky again, the Anis that showed up that enjoyed everything, now it's just strictly business. Now it's I'm there to do a job. So I enjoyed all the attention, the interviews and everything. But now it's a case where if I do box on Sky or on any TV platform, it'll be a case where I'm just there to do my business. Just there to do. After the fight is fine. Beforehand, I'm going to limit as many distractions as possible.
No, that's fair enough, mate. Because you want to be fully focused on the task ahead, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But you did come back with a good knockout win over Powell
Yeah.
At your call. To be fair, mate, no offense, I didn't know you were fighting until like the week of the fight.
To be fair, I didn't. It was something that kept. I weren't fighting up till 2 days before.
Yeah.
So it was that there was issues with the promoter managing who was promoting the fight, the show. There was some issues with him, just like obviously having so many fights on where he was pulling people away. But because my deal with Strykowski, my manager, sorted all the fight out and had it okayed by the board, that was one fight that the promoter was, we don't really need it. But I weren't sure if I was fighting on his show or if I was fighting on another show, because what the manager had said to me, he said, look, but if you're not on that show, I'm getting you on another show. So I was training towards the fight.
Training.
Yeah, I was training for that fight. Yeah, I was training for a fight on that date or the week after. So it was just a case of when I'm going to get the call to say it's on.
And you did, yeah. You beat him in round 2, and bet you were buzzing to get back on winning ways.
I was indeed, but I was annoyed. I wanted to do 6 rounds, and it was my manager has said this is someone who's going to give you 6 rounds if you don't start trying to knock him out, because you might catch him and put him. So I was trying not to, even at one point in the second round, I went into that old sort of mind frame where I'm going to spark this guy out, or walking forward. Then I reminded myself, no, look, just relax. But then it's when you're most relaxed, when your punches are whipping the hardest. So I caught him with a counter right hand, and he wobbled. His head was gone, and he took a knee, and he got up, and he just didn't want to continue. So it was like, all right, fair enough.
At least you got that win. But and then you did fight again, and you did get your rounds, didn't you? Against a very well, it was 28 wins with however many knockouts because if you weren't careful, mate, that could have happened to you.
Yeah, definitely. He caught me with a little left hook that I sort of let myself a little bit too loose, and he just caught a little cheeky left hook, and I was like, okay, he's got power, but it's someone who's had 28 wins, and I think he'd knocked 22 of them out. So it was something. If I don't keep myself careful, I need to be switched on for all 6 rounds, which is what I wanted.
And you did.
That wasn't the first choice opponent. That was again someone coming on. I think a week before the fight, we had 3 pullouts, but he guaranteed to my manager, look, I will turn up. So it was like, you know what, we can't complain. I needed to get the fight because I was training towards that date, and I needed to get a fight in because I weren't sure if
it was a good opponent as well to come in, I thought.
Yeah, no, well, very good. Experienced. So the original guy was 5 wins and 5 losses, the first guy, but that was at heavyweight because not many people were accepting the challenge. There were a few people saying, nah, look, or pricing themselves out, saying they want too much money. My manager wasn't willing to do that. Yeah. And then he pulled out from being ill or something, so you can't blame him. And then the next guy, he was 4 wins, 1 loss with 3 knockouts. So that was someone, who I couldn't remember where he's from, but he was He'd had 2 wins, 1 loss, two
Mhm.
wins by knockout, 1 loss by knockout. Then he'd had another 2 wins by knockout. So it was someone who was pretty much there as a prospect. He wasn't there to just lie down.
I know that
But
would have been a good fight.
yeah, so I'm seeing what's happening. But if I can't, we'll see whatever comes up. But in an ideal world, I would love to have that next as sort of a warm up for something. Let's say if May, June time, something big comes along,
Or
have this.
maybe you might rematch Ricky Reeves as he might, as you might cross paths for a title.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I think Ricky's slightly, I think Ricky's path and my path are a little bit different now, just because we come up in the boxer, but obviously I think he's had 3 in total. He's had 3 fights now, or 4.
6.
No, 6. Okay, yeah. So I think, but I still I've got a feeling that he's we might, if we're going to meet, it'll probably be late towards the end of the year if we do meet again. So, but if it happens, I said to him right after the fight, I'd love to do that over 6 or 8. Because from that fight, it just the way we come out, he was fatiguing a bit, but I still had some left in the tank as well. Mm-hmm. So it was like it would be interesting to see how both of us go at it over 6 or 8 rounds. Then that would be a really interesting fight. Yeah.
You never know. You might fight anyone in that boxer tournament. Jack Fay, Ryan Cottrell.
Yeah.
Donald, Zorro. I think Zorro is pushing for an English, I've heard, but I'm not that sure.
Yeah. I think Zorro was pushed. The last I spoke to him was funny enough. We're all on this tournament. We'll all become. It's like your rival football teams when you're growing up. You've got your Sunday league teams that your mates as well as being we're opponents. Then you also have a little chat here and there. He was saying something about either an English or a British if he can get for a British, but he's had 15 or 16 fights now, so he is.
It's far too experienced for that tournament.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I knew he was going to be in there because he was pushing for it. So it was one of them where it was like, okay, he most of his fights have been 6 rounds, so I weren't expecting him. I thought him saying to be in there was more of a sort of get his name up as opposed to actually being in there. But you got to give him respect. He got in there, he done it over 3 rounds as well. So fair play.
Did you? When you were in the changing room, I've heard that you were like sharing changing rooms like with the other boxers because Jamie Smith has said that.
It wasn't a changing room. It was easiest way. Imagine your school hall, where you have your assembly and whatnot. Just obviously it's a basement, but it's a school hall, and you've got little metal gating, half about 4 foot high, separating, made into 3 corners each side. So you were looking at each other, you were chatting to each other. If you're on the other side of the index, so me and I had behind me Cottrell. Then it was me. Then it was Jack Fay. Then it was Zorro at the front. Then on the other side, there was like a little bit of a curtain sort of thing to sort of keep up.
Oh, because you didn't want to see your first. What would have happened if you was to get through and then someone like Jack Fay and you were in the final? What would have they done?
Then what I believe they did is they had people on the separate sides. So then they moved your stuff over to the other side. So it's it was interesting. It took me back. It was free freeze. It took me back to the amateur days because that's exactly what it was like in some of the shows where you're warming up and let's put that the Haringey Box Cup in Alexandra Palace open. You look over the side to the other side. You've got your opponent warming up, and then he's looking over at you. You're warming up. So sort of took me back to
what. So could you see Ricky?
No, I couldn't see Ricky though. No, I couldn't. When they had the camera on, then you could. If I walked to the bathroom, or if they walked to the bathroom, you could. So it was interesting.
Was
But
that a
like,
bit weird that you could see them?
nah, not really. You've got. I think you've got to take it. Take that aspect out of it, that that I'm fighting this. We're gonna have a fight. We're gonna having bad blood, because there was no bad blood. It weren't really an issue. It was more like, yeah, that's the guy I'm fighting. All right, cool, whatnot.
Who were you talking? Did you have a little conversation with them in the changing room? Or
Everyone.
were you too focused?
No, before, when we got in, before the show was starting, we were warming up and wrapping hands. We all had a little word with each other. Yeah, good luck. Hope you do well. Best, like me and Ricky, best man win. We shared a cab to the weigh-in, me and Ricky. So, we on the way in, they were like, "Oh, look, we can put you in with these guys, or you might be waiting a bit." We're like, "Yeah, we'll go with Ricky." So we've gone into the weigh-in together, having a chat, having a bit of a chin wag. So it weren't so bad.
But would you like to fight on? Is the goal next year to fight back on Sky Sports?
Yeah, or any TV platform. Get myself the goal that I've got for next year is to get signed by a TV platform. So
maybe then.
Yeah, maybe. Obviously they've got good cruiserweight. They've got a good cruiserweight stable. So if
you want to be in there, mate.
If you got the top down, you got a Coley in there now as well. You've got
Crispin Riley that you could
react Paul Riley. Yeah. So there are a few.
The British champion, what's his name? Lawler.
Michael Lawal, yeah, you got him as well.
Wow.
And not to put it the other way, Sky Sports and Ben have good relationships with people like Sam. And they've got Scott Forrest. I just thought about Sam Kynock, the manager. His boy,
Who's your manager?
Al Siesta. And he's got links with Sky as well. He works with them as a matchmaker. So he's in there. It's just about, I've got to prove myself a little bit for them to sort of open up the checkbook and dial the number on the phone and say, yeah, we want Anis.
So when's your next fight? March?
We're looking at March, but there's nothing confirmed. From what's been said by my team, we've got an opportunity possibly in March, but if that doesn't come off, then we're having one. So we sort of want that sorted by the time like mid-January, just to have not even a confirmation of the fight, but this is what we're doing for March. Let's say March 15th, for example, just a random day out. So if I know that, then I'm heading towards that fight. If I don't get that, then I might say I want to fight in February, against that guy 4-1. That would be good, and then see what happens. But because of Ramadan this year, Ramadan is in March 22nd to April 22nd. So I won't be fighting from that period, March to April. I will never fight in Ramadan. So then it'll be a case. The next fight after that would be, we're looking at May. So if I can't get anything in March.
So really, you're trying to go early March, because then you've got Ramadan that you want to.
Yeah.
So maybe, so your goals may be to try and get out March and Feb once, and then get out in May.
If I can get the March one, I would love, depending on who it's against, depending if it's something big or not. If it's not so big, I would love to get one in end of January, beginning of February, then the one in March. So have 4 weeks between them, and provide I'm out of it with no injuries and no issues, no cuts or anything, then go straight into the March one. But if the March one is against, is a decent opportunity.
Like a Vidal Riley or something.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. Like a Vidal Riley, or who else is there? I was trying to think, because there was someone else that I know people have said about like David Jameson, and stuff like that. So it's like if it's like that, then
you're still there, mate, in the mix.
Yeah, it'll be going straight into that fight rather than having a warm up, because why risk it if there could be a potential for injury in a fight, and then trying to go straight into it, going from there to there, then you're gonna end up pulling out. Rather focus.
Yeah, because you would want a longer camp, maybe.
Yeah,
A
because
bigger chance.
if it is one of one of those boys, or really whoever it is, I'll be looking at going up to 8 rounds now. I've had a few 6s, so now it'll be the nature of progression. It'll be 8 is what we're looking at.
But before I let you go, mate, I've got two more things. My last question is: do you have any advice for someone who wants to be a boxer?
Don't do it. No. It depends on where they are in life. If it's someone like yourself, a teenager looking to get into it, my first advice would be, you're still a student, and this is something that I'm an advocate for, is the whole premise of being in school, doing sports, whether it's boxing or, if they take it to the other aspect, any sport. If you're still a student, you want to get your GCSEs, you want to get your A levels. If you can get to university, get yourself to university. Boxing is not a career where you're going to be getting money like that, unless
you sell tickets as well.
Yeah, so unless you're an Olympian, unless you've had a really good amateur career, someone like an Adam Azim, and where you get popularity and you're going to get signed by Sky, and you're getting I'm not too sure what he gets, but you're getting a guaranteed purse, then okay. But even then, boxing isn't guaranteed. You could have an injury today. Like for myself, I could be out now, getting a car crash, and I can't box again. Then I need to know what I can do after boxing, because it's not something where you're going to be guaranteed. So my advice would always be, if you want to do it, definitely get in there. Make sure you put your 100% effort into boxing as well as into studies. You want to get something good, whether it's schooling and university, or whether it's getting a trade, a mechanic, or a plumber, bricklayer, something like that. Make sure you've got a second, a backup option. So if you don't make it in boxing, you're not going to be wondering, what can I do? It's been, I wish I would have focused on my studies. Whereas focus on your studies now, boxing will always be there.
Yes, mate. And do you want to shout, before I let you go, do you want to shout out, I don't know, trainer, sponsor, just anyone?
Shout out to everyone that's helped me in my last few camps. Big shout out to obviously my family, that they put up with all the boxing, whether I win or lose. They're the ones who've got to look at me when I come home, so my black eyes after sparring, stuff like that. Shout out to my coach Josh, my strength and conditioning coach Neon, the cut man Aaron, and also shout out to all the sparring partners that helped me in the last few months. Craig Richards, Arsene Goulamirian, who else have I sparred? Kola Callejo, my stablemate.
Good sparring then, mate.
Yeah, very, very good sparring, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to be sparring bad sparring. I want good sparring. So, shout out to everyone that's helped me spar, everyone that's helped sort out sparring. Shout out to my manager for doing his thing in the background. And a big Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope everyone enjoys the holidays, enjoys the new year.
Yes, and you too, mate. Hopefully, cheers. I can come to one of your fights in the new year.
Definitely. Well, look, you let me know. I'll let you know when I'm fighting. Get a ticket. I'll send 1 or 2 out to you.
I appreciate that, mate. Cheers. Enjoy
your
day.
You too. Cheers.
Bye, champ.
Bye.